All right, day 3. We're going to talk about breath and body work, which is what you want to do if you're having an anxiety attack. All right, this is the video on how to calm anxiety attack that's already in play. Okay, so day 1 we talked about predispositions and causes of anxiety, and you were to find out what your anxiety stems from, so that we can better figure out a plan of action to start remedying it. Day 2, yesterday, we talked about reframing the fear and figuring out, it may look like a fear of this, but it's actually a fear of this, and how to go from this to that, which is the fear of having the fear and then curing the fear. Okay. And then today we're going to talk about calming yourself. All right. So breath and body work. If you're in the midst of a anxiety attack, one of the biggest things I always notice when my anxiety ramps up, I immediately look at my breathing. Okay. And more often than not, my breathing is very shallow, very quick, shallow and quick. What you want to do is slow it down. Do very long and deep breaths, okay? This is your number 1 defense system when you start having an anxiety attack. The first thing you need to do is start focusing on your breathing, okay? Long and slow and even. And you may even pause, release, pause, inhale, pause. And this is also going to help you slow everything down and calm everything down. This signals to your nervous system that everything's fine, everything's okay, because we first have to convince our body everything's okay because it's our body most of the time that's panicking. Okay. When looking at anxiety, people who don't suffer from anxiety think that it's all about us panicking over things we can't control. Okay. But most of the time, anxiety is a physiological response. Okay. And the mind may trigger it from time to time, or a lot of the time, depending on your predisposition or cause for your anxiety. But a lot of the times, it is a physiological reaction to who knows what. All right. My anxiety is managed, but I still have anxiety on a weekly basis for sure. Not quite every day anymore, but once every 3 to 5 days at least. Okay. And my husband was like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "My anxiety's up." And he's like, "For what?" Well, I wish I knew. If I knew, I could fix it, but I'm just kind of having to deal with it at the moment. Okay. And that's what you have to do. You have to deal with it. And I don't mean deal with it. I mean go with it, flow with it, ride with it. Fighting it is going to make it worse. Okay. A lot of us, because anxiety is scary. It's doesn't feel good. It doesn't, and not at all. So your natural response is to fight it and try to show it away. No, I don't want that. And that's not what that's counterproductive, because that's just going to cause you to panic even more. Okay. So recognize it, acknowledge that it's there, focus on your breathing, okay? Understand that your anxiety is not trying to hurt you, okay? It's trying to protect you. It flares up because it senses a threat. Whether you're conscious to the threat or not, your body senses a threat, okay? And that's where we get into the lifestyle, diet, environmental toxins, causes, and stuff, because we're not going to notice that that's what's causing it, okay? you're not going to be like, oh, it's the chemicals in my shampoo. It could be, but honestly, you're probably never going to know if that's what's causing it, right? So learning to deal with the effects of it when, gosh, these flies. Welcome to Alabama. Flies everywhere. It's just dealing with the attack that's already in play, okay? So if we can figure out how to live, coexist with our anxiety, it's going to make things a lot easier on us, because we'll know what to do, how to react, and how to calm it. And then it makes the anxiety less, and it makes it less frequent and shorter when they do come. Like the attack lets the attacks be shorter when they do come, because you know how to fix it and flow with it. So you're working on your breath. You're acknowledging that it can't hurt you, and that it's there to protect you. You may even want to ask it what it needs right now. What is this coming from? Like, you know, like you're talking to a child who's having a panic attack. You know, what's the matter? What's wrong? I understand your feelings are valid, but I can't fix this unless you tell me what's the matter. But you know what? A lot of times kids aren't going to tell you, and they're just going to keep panicking and freaking out, right? So you just kind of got to flow with it and manage it as is. Okay, so slow, deep breaths is your number one thing, okay? Maybe even pause on the inhale before you exhale, and then pause again before you inhale again, okay? So you're pausing at the end of each breath, in and out. While you're working on your breath, sit up straight with your spine tall and long, shoulders back and down, okay? Back and down. My shoulders were like, until very recently, like this is a recent thing I've been working on, okay? My shoulders were like permanently like this right here, and I started noticing it in pictures first. I didn't realize it in myself, but I noticed in pictures that I was all scrunched up, that I had no neck, that it was just all like cramped and in here, okay? And this is a anxiety response that we might not realize, okay? This is a protective stance, okay? Like you're closed in, you're like in protection mode, like defense mode. And so I started working on this, and that's when I started realizing that it's all tied to the same thing, and it's all like, and then actually doing this, like pulling your shoulders back and down, physically tells your body that everything's fine, okay? Stress response, calm response. And because your body is intelligent, okay, and completely separate from your mind, like connected but separate. And your body takes cues that your mind doesn't catch, okay? So through breath and body work, like consciously making an effort to deepen and slow your breaths and fix your posture and whatnot, will tell your body that everything's okay, and it'll calm your nervous system, like for real, on a physiological level. So, but like, I took Tai Chi a couple years ago, almost a couple years ago, and one of the things you have to do is bring your shoulders back and down, okay? And when our instructor first started telling us to do this, apparently I wasn't doing it at all. Like, my shoulders were so used to and so fixed to being like up here that they literally did not go down. They did not go down. They did not go back. Like, it just wasn't a movement that my body did. But if you keep working on it, and it's the same thing in yoga. If you just keep on stretching, keep on working on that same pose, you're going to get it deeper and deeper into it, and it's going to be easier and easier to do it. And it's the same thing. Okay, and you'll feel like, if you're one of those people like me that was like this all the time, then you'll feel like how at first it doesn't feel like you can do that. Like, my body doesn't do that. And that's from it not doing it most of your life. So you need to like physically do it. And that falls into like the posture thing as well. There's these things called power poses. If you've never heard of them, they're poses that you do that literally bring up your confidence levels. Okay, it was in an episode of Grey's Anatomy where what's her name? The sister. There was like a bunch of sisters. Derek's sister. Her. Gosh, how do I not know her name right now? Anyway, she was doing the Superman pose before surgeries. That's one of the power poses. That's backed by science, that if you do this for like with your shoulders back and and down and your chest out and just Superman pose, then it physically, actually, mentally, whatever, raises your confidence levels. And you gotta do it for like not long, like 30 seconds or something. It raises your confidence levels. More power poses are big and open, okay? Whereas when you're anxious and you're insecure and everything, you make yourself small. You know, we see it all the time. People sitting like this and with their arms crossed, and they have their legs tucked in, and they're just making themselves, taking up as little space as possible. You want to do the opposite of that, okay? That's a power pose. If you're sitting back, if you're kicked back, if you're, legs spread, whatever, just taking up space. This even, like, get my fist out and like up, power pose, power pose, power pose. It's a fake it till you make it, but it's fake it until you actually become it, okay? And because there's so much like science in that the fake it until you make it, or the do it till you prove it, or whatever. Okay, you might not can cure your anxiety right now, but you can make your body do these things. You can make your mouth say these words. You can work on these other things that calm the anxiety and eventually push it out the window if you just keep practicing it and because if you keep doing this, if you keep putting your body in these positions, your body is going to start to automatically be in them, second nature, without you thinking about it. And you're gonna, if you keep, your body's gonna start believing that you are confident and you are calm and you are fine. And the same thing with like our affirmations, which we have not gotten to yet, but they're coming tomorrow. But if you say the words, you say your affirmations, I believe this, like we talked about yesterday with the reframing, I believe that I can find a way, then you'll actually start finding a way. And I believe this is okay, and you actually start believing this is okay. Okay? So it's really simple, but in theory and in concept, but you have to keep working with it, right? Okay, so slow, deep breaths, posture, power poses if you need to, but most importantly, the shoulders back and down. Activate your senses. So while you're breathing in deeply and slowly, what do you smell? Do you smell anything? If you don't, can you smell anything? Can you go find something to smell? Do you have any essential oils? Because those are really helpful in calming anxiety. What do you hear? I hear the air conditioner. I hear the diffuser. What do you see? Well, I see the sunshine. I see the smoke from the diffuser. I see this fly flying around my face and my head, driving me crazy. I see a mostly clean room, which feels great. What do you feel? Not emotionally, really. We're gonna step away from that because anxiety can make you feel like you're anxious emotionally. So what do you feel physically? What's the temperature in the room? Is anything hurting on your body? Is anything quite comfortable on your body? Like, wow, I'm glad my leg doesn't hurt. Random stuff can help you get really far. All right. Activating your senses. All right, when you're having an anxiety attack, focusing on all of these things, your breathing, your posture, your body work, your senses. Not only do all of these things actually lower stress levels and anxiety levels on a physiological level, but they also push out any thoughts or emotions or anything that were maybe triggering the anxiety in the first place. You only have X amount of room in your head to think about things at any given moment. Okay, like you can only think about, I don't know the number, 3, 6, whatever things at a time. It's really, I don't think it's more than 7. And even then, you're not thinking about one at a time, or you are thinking about one at a time. It's just jumping back and forth. But anyway, you can only think about X amount of things. You can only have X amount of things in your head at any given time. So if you're focusing on your breathing and your senses and your body work and your smells and like all of these things, then you push out whatever was maybe feeding the anxiety. Okay. And that helps. So yeah, that's about all we got today on this. And there's 100 different things you could do in these areas. There's 100 different breathing exercises. There's 100 different body technique things that you can do. Even you can go down and you can get into yoga. There's lots of anxiety lowering poses that in yoga that you could do that, when you feel your anxiety attack coming on, you do a down dog and then you do legs up the wall and then a lot of these things. And then the senses, that helps you get more out of your head and into your body so that you can focus on the physical and not the possibilities and the worry, and really brings you into the mindfulness of now, like being in the moment and seeing, just slowing down, because that's what you want to do. You just want to slow down for a second and create some space for yourself to breathe and just take a minute and get your mind right, even if your anxiety comes along with it, because eventually you'll be, because this is where I am now. I'm having an anxiety attack, but it's not controlling me. Okay, I'm not reacting to it. I'm doing my breath work, I'm doing my body work, and yeah, it's here and it still sucks. It's like an unwanted guest, but it's not controlling me. It's not hindering me, really, besides being annoying. It's not keeping me from doing this or that. It's not making me feel insecure or like whatever. Mind over matter. All right. So, and you can get to this place. Okay. It's all about this mindset work. It's all about this body work and being proactive and learning. It's about learning your enemy and becoming friends with them, because your anxiety is not your enemy. It's trying to protect you, and it's just a really overprotective mother that needs to chill out. So, I forget what the prompt is for today, so check out the email. I'll link to it in the description and all that for what you're supposed to be doing today. And if you need help, if you have questions, you know, I'm here for you. Text me, message me. By text, I mean message. Obviously, you don't have my phone number. Message me, email me, post in a comment right here or in a new post. If you do a new post, tag me to make sure I see it. And tomorrow we'll talk about meditation and affirmations, which is kind of an extent of this but deeper. And we're going to talk about some ways you can work in those on a daily basis, even if you don't have time to do anything. All right. So I'm not going to keep you any longer. Do the prompts, do the work, and I'll see you then.